one of the people responsible for one of the worst national security crises that any of us can remember is released from jail, and the head of a party that is currently topping the polls literally welcomes her with open arms.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is your host JD. I hope you're all doing well and are having a great day so far. Now, as you can all see with the title, the thumbnail, in this video today, I'm going to be talking about the breaking news that is coming out in the UK as Lucy Connolly, a woman who was jailed for a post on social media that she made last year at the time of the Southport tragedy, has now been released. Finally. Yeah, that's what everybody is saying. Finally, she has been released. And I think it's fair to say, when people saw that news, they were happy. However, there are people out there, as always, who aren't happy about this. The woke leftist liberals, man, they never fail to disappoint. They are outraged. Why is she being released? You know, I actually think these people wanted her to serve the original 31 months she was sentenced to. Yeah, you heard me correct. She was sentenced to 31 months in jail for a social media post. Left is right, up is down. Boy, common sense, hard to find. Now, we have a lot of news to get into, ladies and gentlemen, but before we do, as always, if you could, make sure to leave a like rating, as it really helps out the video. If you're new and you've stumbled across this channel, unlike the English channel You Can't Cross, stay for free and receive all the benefits. If you want to stay, you gotta subscribe, otherwise don't come back. Turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Comment on this video, share this video, and Sky News have reported Lucy Connolly, who was jailed for inciting racial hatred on X after Southport, has been released. Lucy Connolly, the wife of Conservative councillor Raymond Connolly, was handed a 31-month sentence in October last year after she admitted publishing and distributing threatening or abusive written material on the X social media site. In an apparent reference to asylum seekers staying in UK hotels, Connolly posted on the day of 3 girls in Southport on July 29th last year, "Mass deportation now. Set fire to all the F hotels full of the B for all I care. If that makes me racist, so be it." Now, of course, as we all remember, at the time of that tragedy taking place, rumors were going around on social media. People were suggesting that it was a migrant who had come into the country recently and taken the lives of those 3 girls and injured many more. We obviously know that wasn't the case. And nobody condones what she said. You know, it was wrong. It was done in the heat of the moment. She also deleted that post, 3 hours or so later? But she should be nowhere near a cell. Nowhere near a jail. Nowhere near. It's crazy. But then again, you know, this is the UK, and getting arrested for social media posts, well, common occurrence. And we're also seeing this excuse online as well. You know, the woke leftist liberals are saying, well, she pleaded guilty, why would she do that? Well, I think a lot of people are also starting to realize she was given terrible legal advice. But regardless if she was given terrible legal advice or whatever, the fact we're sat here talking about a woman sent to jail for 31 months is insane. You can get less time for doing terrible crimes in this country. How does that make sense? It doesn't. And then what about the Ricky Jones case? Yeah, lots of you will know about this one, but this Labour councillor turned up to a Stand Up to Racism rally that was a counter-protest to these riots going on last year. And this is what he said on camera.
We've got children and women using those trains, destroying the summer relatives. They are disgusting, nasty bastards. And we need to cut all their throats and get rid of them all.
Now, he said that and got suspended, went to court, and was found not guilty of encouraging violent behaviour. But Lucy Connolly goes to jail? Sorry. What? Can you openly say now we need to cut the throats of people? And what makes it even worse, the judge who was overseeing his case, as I'm sure a lot of you know, was also a diversity and community relations judge. Now, this plays a role in dedicating to promoting diversity and community engagement within the judicial system. So that trial was an absolute farce. He was never going to jail. They all know it, and this is why people are now also saying this is a clear example of two-tier policing, a two-tier justice system. I mean, it's undeniable. Wait, hold on. You can't say that. You know, it's reached a point in this country where if you say there's two-tier policing, a two-tier justice system, you're being mean, you're being controversial, because they simply don't want you bringing it up. They don't want you talking about it, as they do with a lot of things. You know, don't mention it. Ignore your own eyes and ears. I mean, I don't know why they still act this way. We can all see what is going on. Anyway, we have a statement now from Lucy Connolly's husband, and this is what he has to say. GB News report, Lucy Connolly's husband sends withering message to Keir Starmer after wife finally wins freedom. Mr. Connolly has turned his fire on Sir Keir Starmer, who has been long accused of fueling Britain's two-tier justice system after defending her sentencing. But Keir Starmer really wants to come out and say, oh no, we don't have two-tier policing, a two-tier justice system, we have freedom of speech. Do we? Well done to Starmer for making it so difficult for a girl of 12 hijab. Now that is about his daughter not doing too well with her mum going to jail, as you would expect. Let's all give him a pat on the back. The councillor added, it will be good to have her home. We are thankful for the support. Our focus will be to try and sort out our lives and for my wife to reconnect with our daughter. So they're going to have a lot going on, man. You know what it's going to be like with the mainstream media, podcasters, YouTubers, content creators. They're all going to want a statement from her. They're all going to want her to speak out. And who knows? Can she speak out? Can she say much? I guess time will have to tell.
Have you been Keir Starmer's political prisoner? Absolutely. And me and several other people. Like I said, it's important to remember that it wasn't just me. He needs to practice what he preaches. I think, you know, he's a human rights lawyer, so maybe he needs to look back at what people's human rights are, what freedom of speech means, and what the laws are in this country.
Welcome to the UK. So with all of that, you know, it is going to be interesting in the future to hear what she has to say. But what isn't interesting to hear are these woke leftists melting down. GB News post on X. I find it quite appalling for a politician to be suggesting that. Broadcaster Fahima Mohammed, I believe that's how you say it, shares her opinion on Lucy Connolly's case, saying the evidence shows that law was applied, not politics. Take a watch.
Because I see judges applying law, not politics. And I think that's, political rhetoric that was just said. And it's quite appalling for an actual MP to be suggesting that, even for the justice system. Lucy Connolly was jailed lawfully under Section 19 of the Public Order Act of 1986 for publishing material intended to stir up racial hatred. Her guilt plea was voluntary and informed and legally represented. There was not any evidence of any coercion. This was not about venting or free speech. Her post explicitly called for arson and violence against vulnerable groups, which reached over 300,000 people and created a risk of public harm. These sentences are followed by a council guideline to the letter, and they have to make sure that it's not excessive. And also, there is so much evidence that even if she was to plead not guilty, it could have led to a trial, higher stress, and also a longer sentence given the evidence. So even comparing it to Ricky Jones is misleading, because he faced a different offence made in an oral remark in a specific context and was acquitted by a jury. Connolly offence was written, persistent, and shared widely online. No matter how many times people argue against these cases, they haven't sat in a law firm or studied law or understand how different cases and offences work.
Right. It's true. You know, I didn't study law, and I don't know how many of you guys did, but I have a PhD in common sense. And how you can say politics wasn't applied here is just crazy. You know, these people can try and dismiss the links between Lucy Connolly and Ricky Jones, but they're clear to see. You know, if it was, and let's be honest, if it was a white man saying what Ricky Jones said, but it was about migrants, it doesn't matter if he pleaded guilty or not. He would be going to jail for years. No questions asked. But apparently politics aren't a part in this. Yeah, right. Now, moving on to this next person, and you ain't gonna believe what he has to say. He actually calls in a video Lucy Connolly a terrorist. Take a watch.
Lucy Connolly was just released from prison. This is the woman who called for refugees to be in government hotels. After which, people did actually try and in government hotels. And I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page that if you try and burn down a government-run building full of people, that makes the literal definition of terrorism, right? And the dictionary defines a terrorist as anybody who advocates for terrorism. So this headline actually reads, terrorist released from prison. And what has been the reaction of the British right-wing establishment? Nigel Farage tweets, welcome to freedom, Lucy Connolly. Dan Wootton, the former main host of GB News, tweeted, Lucy Connolly is a hero. She's all of us. I want you to think about what happened during the riots last summer. Like, there were people attacking innocent people all over the country, People were trying to burn down hotels full of refugees, burn down mosques, attack minorities, attack the police. This was a national security crisis. And when you think back, like as far as you can, think of any other time where you, no matter where you lived in the country, were scared that something major, violent was going to happen if you just stepped outside your door. Can you think of anything worse, than the riots that happened last summer? And there are people behind that, people like Lucy Connolly. The British right-wingers are flocking to their defence. Not just to their defence, they're treating them as heroes. One of the people responsible for one of the worst national security crises that any of us can remember is released from jail, and the head of a party that is currently topping the polls literally welcomes her with open arms.
Right, these leftists, I tell you, I have no idea what's wrong with them. I really don't. People didn't specifically see her post, her tweet, and then go out in the streets. How you can say she is one of the people responsible for one of the biggest national security risks is insane. She didn't direct anybody to go to a hotel. She didn't go out there and take part. She can't be blamed for people's actions. But apart from that, calling Lucy terrorist is another... I don't even know what to say, man. That's a different level of insanity. I've not seen one leftist do this, one liberal do this, but, they've always got to outdo each other. Once one person says something, the next person's got to take it to an extreme. Oh, no, they're a racist. Oh, wait, no, hold on. She's a terrorist. Mate, but there's one person who is also going to look bad in this, and they are now placed in a very awkward position, and that is Keir Starmer, because she represents the two-tier system that we have. If she's given a platform to speak about this, and a big platform, people are going to listen. So I wonder if she's going to be at the event Tommy Robinson is planning on September 13th. I believe that will be something to see. It really would. Think about the amount of people that are going to see that. But leave your thoughts down below, ladies and gentlemen. What are your thoughts on Lucy Connolly being released and what these leftists are saying? She's a terrorist, apparently, and you can just go on social media and see the meltdown from these people. What a time to be in. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Share this video, follow my socials down below in the description. But until next time, it has been your very mean, hateful, controversial host JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.